Welcome. Would you kindly introduce yourselves for the record, please?
I am Naimuddin, Secretary, Minister of Investment Promotion.
I am Anoja Herath, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Investment Promotion.
I'm Dinusha Jayavira, Legal Officer from Investment Promotion Ministry.
Vindhya Veerasekara, Director Legal, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Revan Vikramasuriya, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
First of all, we want to apologize to you. We had to push you back by an hour because there was an urgent matter that needed to be resolved. So that is why unscheduled meeting we had to take. So I genuinely do apologize for the delay. What is Secretary? What are you proposing here?
Colombo Port City guidelines on grant of exemption on incentive of business of strategic importance, duty-free operations.
So okay. So what are you asking for?
Sorry? You can go ahead. Provide.
I mean, yes, you are the Port City Commission. You are not putting this, are you? Who is tabling this? Is it tabled by the? It's tabled by the minister, no? Yeah. So the ministry, tell us what you are proposing. We can ask the Port City Commission if we need. Can I have some water, please?
Duty-free operations in Colombo Port City under the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act number 11 of 2021, and it is already granted its cabinet granted approval in March 13th. Accordingly, the Colombo Port City guidelines on the grant of exemptions or incentive to business of strategic importance, duty-free operations regulation number 3 of 2023 are made under section 71 of CPC Act, and the BSI duty-free operations under the said regulations are categorized into two distinct groups: business of strategic importance, duty-free mall operation, and business of strategic importance, duty-free retail operations, based on the investment threshold and the social and economic benefits to Sri Lanka.
So duty-free shop is a strategic importance. How is it a strategic importance? Explain to us, please.
Yes, there are commission member and also the Port City officials. They will explain.
Now, I am asking you. You are the Secretary of the Ministry.
Yes.
What is the government's position on how? I just want to understand why a retail shop is of strategic importance.
This is a BSI importance, a duty-free mall operation that make a minimum investment of USD 7 million.
Why 7 million? Why not 10 million? Why not 5 million?
And
please explain to me.
Yeah.
How do you define strategic importance? First tell me. You can put words.
Yes.
What is the meaning of the word strategic importance? How do you define strategic importance? That is policy, no? That's why I'm asking you.
That was the agreement, and we had a discussion and with different agencies and also with Ministry of Finance, and we agreed to these threshold limits.
This is under what law?
So may I just explain the scheme of the access to?
1 minute, please. Under what law are you asking for this?
This is Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead. Port City Commission, go ahead.
So the scheme of the Act, of the Port City Act, is that for anyone to do business in the area of the port city, you need to be an authorized person and you're paying an annual license fee.
Can I
Thereafter,
get the English copy of this, please? Yes.
thereafter, sir, now an authorized person does not get any tax incentives or benefits. It's a license to do business in the area of the port city. In order to get the benefits, you need to become what is called a BSI, Business of Strategic Importance, under Section 53. So, to answer your question, sir, to get the tax incentives, you need to qualify as a BSI. And for this particular thing, it's for this duty-free mall. This regulation is put out for the mall operators and retail operators to set up this duty-free space. So, to answer your question, sir, to get the incentives, you need to be classified as a business of strategic importance under the Act, under Section 53 of the Act.
And under Section 53 of the Act, what are the concessions that you get when you become what do you call business entity or whatever it is that the word you called it? What exemptions are you asking for?
If I may, Honorable Chairman, in this instance, the exemptions and incentives under Schedule 2 for businesses that would be designated as businesses of strategic importance under this regulation, specifically for duty-free mall operators and duty-free operators, is up to a period of 20 years exemptions from the enactments in Schedule 2 of the CPEC Act.
So what is in Schedule 2, please?
There are 13 enactments in Schedule 2.
And they are?
Yes, there are 13 enactments in Schedule 2 of the CPEC Act.
And what are they?
Starts with the Inland Revenue Act, the Value Added Tax
Hold
Act.
on a second. So what you're saying is once these guys start operating for 20 years, the Inland Revenue Act does not apply.
They would be exempt from taxes under the Inland Revenue Act. Yes.
So let me understand this. So what you're saying is now there is this company that is doing duty-free business. They will import something and they will, let's say a TV, and they will sell that TV in the duty-free shop in Port City. Just let's take an example and work through it so it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
And that will not attract any income tax on the profit the duty-free shop owner makes. Correct?
Yeah, so if I can clarify that,
Yeah.
the latter part of your statement is correct. There will be no income tax, right? Will be an exemption for 20 years. There are permitted goods that are going to be sold, and white goods or electrical items such as TVs and fridges, etc., not permitted.
Okay. What
And
are
that's-
permitted?
That is in the rules.
What are the rules? What are permitted?
Yeah.
Because when you say duty-free shop, Mr. Vikramasuriya, people immediately think what you get from the airport duty-free, no?
So there is a absolutely correct, sir, and that is why there is a gazette published in May 2022.
Yeah.
Correction, 22nd of May 2023,
Where is the gazette?
which
Yeah.
actually, and Schedule 1 of that
Yeah.
actually, and that's called the rules for duty-free operations within the area of authority, and it goes from apparels, okay, audio-visual equipment. Yeah.
Hold on. Where are you reading from? I don't seem to have that. Did you submit that to us? Where is that? No, but then we need to know what is being sold in this duty-free shop, no? Now, I ask a simple question that any person will ask. I go to a duty-free shop and buy a washing machine. You are saying you can't sell washing machines here. Then what can you sell? Can you get me that list, somebody?
Can I give you? May I come up?
Please. Or again, give it to that gentleman there.
You got another copy? I have it.
There's a copy.
Thank you. Yes, please, Mr. Vikramasuriya. Permitted goods. Column 1.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
So that, as you mentioned, that doesn't include white goods. right?
So shall I read the permanent goods?
Yes, sir.
That is apparel. So you can sell like a polo shirt there.
Exactly.
Audio and visual equipment, speakers, CCTV systems, home entertainment systems, and electronic gadgets. So home entertainment system means TV. So you can sell a TV. You can also sell a Bose sound system. Digital photographic cameras, video cameras, photographic accessories. So you can sell a Canon. Computer accessories, cables, audio, visual, computers, desktops, laptops, tablets, computer peripherals. Confectionery, sweets and biscuits. Beverages, powder drinks, energy drinks, soft drinks and water. It does not say liquor though. Packaged foods and delicatessens. Game consoles and game software. Grooming and toiletry products, baby products. Health and wellness products. Home care and laundry care products. So that means washing machines are included. Kitchen utensils and cutlery. The 13. Then you have kids' toys, baby carriages, leather accessories, bags, belts, wallets, luggage, mobile telephones and accessories. That means you can buy duty-free an iPhone. Musical instruments, pens, other writing instruments, perfume, cosmetics, makeup, sports items, gym equipment, bicycles, bicycle accessories. Oh, it does have spirits, wines, beer, sunglasses, watches, tobacco. So, what you are saying, Mr. Vikramasuriya, is that all these things will be sold duty-free in this duty-free shop.
So if I can comment.
Yes, please.
This was the rules, right?
Yeah.
The vision and the strategy behind this,
Yeah.
right, goes back to cabinet memos, etc., as far back as 2020, right? The idea here is to create a shopping destination to attract tourists to come in and shop here, and create Colombo as a center to bring in tourists, because what they say is a lot of tourists come in and actually go out of Colombo and there is no attraction. The discussions had with the operators, right, and the studies performed was how can we replicate a shopping environment and an experience that the travelers see similar to what they would experience when they're in Dubai and Singapore, etc., in the duty-free malls there. On the back of that,
So duty-free malls, they are meaning?
in Dubai and Singapore, when you go through duty-free in Dubai and Singapore, the experience you have there, the variety of goods and products.
You mean like Singapore, let's say, like if
Changi Airport, for
the
example.
airport. I mean, if I go to Orchard Street and go to, one of the shops there, that's not duty-free, I have to pay duty, or do I not pay duty?
I don't want to comment on that, sir, because I'm not aware of the status on that.
No, you said Singapore, duty-free
I'm
shop.
talking about the duty-free shops.
Yeah, but we have a duty-free shop at the airport. No, we are not talking. Are you talking about the duty-free shop at the airport? No.
No, a
You
duty-free,
are talking about a duty-free shop in the CBD, right?
a downtown duty-free in the
Yeah.
port city, correct.
So you said in Singapore, when the experience you have. So my question to you is, in Singapore, I'm not aware. I don't go to Singapore that often. I mean, if I go to Takashiyama or something, then do I pay taxes or do I not pay taxes? Duty.
So I don't want to comment on that, sir, because I also don't go. I don't even know the name.
Then what I suggest that you don't say things that elicit questions from us.
Okay, so let me apologize on that. So what I was trying to rephrase is the experience people have when they go through duty-free mall. Let's look at the duty-free shopping arcade and the spaces in the Changi Airport or the Dubai Airport, right?
Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about that. What you're talking here is not about the airport. You're talking about a duty-free shop in the city of Colombo.
Yes, sir. If you permit me to finish. So when you look at the product categories that travelers can purchase in those malls, right? we realized, and with I think nearly about 3 million or 4 million arrivals into Sri Lanka, right, we realized there was a lot of money being spent by people coming into Sri Lanka and also going out of Sri Lanka, going and shopping in these duty-free malls in the airports, right? Then we were trying to see how we can create a similar environment for people coming into Sri Lanka. When the studies were done, we came across markets such as China Hainan province, right, and a couple of other markets that have gone into the concept of downtown duty-free malls, right? South Korea being one, Hainan in China, Cambodia is also looking at this, and most recently Dubai is also looking at creating what is called a downtown duty-free mall, which creates a shopping environment and a culture for them to come in and spend time, do their duty-free shopping, either when they arrive into the country within a certain time period or prior to them going out. On the back of that, we engaged with a global leader in duty-free mall operations in airports and on the concept of downtown duty-free. China duty-free, which is world number one. I think they do nearly $10 to $15 billion worth of turnover, and global number one, to consider the decisions made by, I think, cabinet memos and budget speeches going back to 2020 to create a downtown duty-free concept which will attract tourists and people into Colombo and Sri Lanka. And it was on the back of that they came up with this, it is on the back of that we moved to create this mall in the port city itself for travelers into Sri Lanka, right? Sri Lankan citizens were coming in, right? And also foreigners coming in and actually going out, where they can spend some time in this mall, do their duty-free purchases, and leave the country. So it was a whole shopping experience which these people can experience in other parts of the
So I appreciate your point. Like, I mean, if you come through to Colombo duty free, you have very limited choice, and people will try to sell you a washing machine, 3-4 shops, I don't know however many. You don't have that kind of choice. But the concept there and in most countries is that it is restricted to travelers, real, actual, authentic travelers. Right? Because the duty free is before you clear customs, isn't it? It's before you clear customs, no? So it's always before, and then you have various customs ordinances. You can't bring more than this much. You can't bring more than that much. There is a certain limit that has been imposed, where it says Gazette number 232946 of April 23, right? It says if you stay for less than 90 days, you are silver category, and you have to remit $2,400. If you do that, you get a allowance of if you stay for more than 1 year, allowance of $2,350. Right? So there is a limit. In fact, this limit was much lower than this. In fact, it is this committee that suggested these people that there has to be an equity principle when they determine these numbers. So if you remit more than $4,800, then you can purchase up to $2,700, etc. So my point is, there are lots of conditions for Sri Lankan citizens coming back from overseas on the amount that they can purchase. So the obvious question to you, Mr. Wickramasuriya, is, are there any limitations like that imposed on Sri Lankans coming back? How do you monitor that? And are there any limitations imposed on any other shopper?
There is, sir. Again, we move to the document I shared with you, the Gazette, issued in May.
Yeah.
Schedule 2 of that actually has a table speaking to the permitted allowances.
Yes.
Right? So for Sri Lankans arriving, right, there is an annual limit of $5,000.
Yeah.
So notwithstanding the number of times they travel, there is an annual limit of $5,000. Whereas for tourists, there is no limit, and as you rightly pointed out, those goods purchased when they are going would only be delivered after they clear immigration.
That is for those people without a limit.
For tourists,
For
non-Sri Lankans.
Yeah. So then,
Sri Lankan,
so
yeah.
any Sri Lankan coming from overseas, or any Sri Lankan,
Any Sri Lankan who's travelled overseas and coming back.
is there a limit of the travel duration?
No, sir, not in this case.
Okay. Now,
But it's a one-off limit, and that limit is regardless of the number of times you travel
okay.
within a year. So even if you go out a dozen times a year,
So that's, let's say, 365 days.
correct,
That is the limit, no? In this,
for $5,000.
see, tax department. Now, you just got this approved that if a person of Sri Lankan or Sri Lankan citizen comes from overseas, I just read it. Sri Lankan comes from overseas, and per year that $5,000 limit. This is actually, let's say, 6,500 after the additional allowance. Let's say, yes, the highest is 6,500. Let's say the other one is 4,100. You have to remit $24,000 to get this 6,500 limit. To get the 4,100 limit, you have to remit $12,000 US. Now that same person, instead of buying at the duty-free shop in the airport, can come outside and go to this duty-free mall and then purchase up to 5,000. No? So because if a person, and there is no requirement for any remittances. So a lady, let's say, coming from the Middle East has a limit of $2,350, and if she had stayed for a year, she should have remitted $2,400 to get that $2,350. Here there is no remittance requirements. I'm not arguing either way, I just want clarity in this so that we all know that is the case. Why would anybody buy anything at the duty-free airport, duty-free at the airport? They will all come. Why shouldn't they not all come here? Okay, Mr. Vikramasuriya, it's not your matter, it is a matter for the Ministry of Finance.
Only luxury, according to the commission view, only luxury things are to be sold in those duty-free shops.
Now
Luxury
tell
item,
me,
branded items. Yes.
Is a tag a luxury or not?
Branded items, sir.
Every watch is branded. I'm asking you, who is to determine what is luxury, what is not? For a low-income person, a citizen is a luxury. For a high-income person, a tag is not a luxury. So who is to determine what is luxury? Luxury depends. It's a subjective thing, right? Are you drinking single malt? Are you drinking red label? I mean, for a person who is drinking arak, red label is luxury. A person who is drinking Glenfiddich, black label is not luxury. So who is determining that? Who's got the authority to determine what is luxury, what is not? And also, Mr. Vikramasuriya, now in the list of items that you have, it does not say no anywhere. It says apparel.
Chairman, I hear your point, right? And again, I will come back on to the vision of this, right? It is not to create an environment, and I'm stating here this in committee as well, it is not the vision to create an environment where people are selling or dealing in fridges, washing machines, etc., right? And that's the sort of the concept. If you go through the Dubai duty free, so I hear your point, when you look at this list of goods, right? This list of goods was taken in consultation with the customs when we gave them our idea. But I hear you, right? If you do look at these goods, yes, somebody, as you rightly pointed out, washing the laundry goods, they might come in and say sell a washing machine, right? And
why not?
I can assure you
that it won't be sold.
That is no, that's not the intention, right? Now, what we can
Mr.
do,
Vikramasuriya, please let me interject. What your intention and a shrewd, I'm using
Yes.
the word shrewd business person, right? We will, interpret it in different
Absolutely.
ways. I mean, you can have something in your mind, Mr. Vikramasuriya, but that doesn't mean that that is the law, and legally one cannot do.
So, what if I may be permitted to comment, and I hear your comments on this, I think something, and I've got a commission member here, something we can do is go back and revisit this list, Annexure B, Annexure 2, and actually further tighten that and ensure it is being designed and crafted to ensure the objectives of the commission is being met.
I hear you, but I don't think that is possible. Because I'll tell you why. It is not possible because there is no particular bureaucrat who can determine if a tag watch is luxury or not. There is no bureaucrat who can determine whether a black label is luxury or not. There is no bureaucrat who can determine whether a belt that you buy from DSW or someplace is luxury or not. How do you do that? I'm just asking because I do not know how to do that.
I wouldn't use the adjective luxury. And I hear you correctly, right? What's luxury to one person is not luxury to another, and I hear you totally on that. But what we would like to again reiterate is, and when we talk to the parties that are looking at coming in here, like the China duty frees, the Flamingos, the ODFs, etc., and China duty free for one, right? They are world's number one. They're not coming in here to sell fridges and washing machines. They are coming in here to sell perfumes.
That may be.
So
but your list has
clear.
It has fridges. Sorry, I don't know that.
It has the ability to bring in fridges, right? And I hear you there, and that's why again my previous comment to see how we can we will engage further with customs and look at actually see how to address these concerns.
Okay, I want to move on. But so this discussion is for the consumption of the tax advisor to the government. Are we creating distortions in the market? If so, how do we avoid it? If market distortions are not being created, then I have no problem, right? We spent 1 whole hour just discussing market distortions. I mean, I can always come here and say, okay, it's late, we are hungry, it's 2 o'clock, let's just approve all these things. But I don't think I will do my job the way I'm expected to if I don't ask these tough questions. Mr. Vikramasuriya, please don't be misguided that I am against Port City or that I'm trying to shoot you down. I am asking questions that as the Committee of Public Finance need to ask.
So I've never ever thought that way, because all our regulations that have come in here have been duly discussed and addressed, and I appreciate the committee's guidance and support given in that regard.
I want. And then that is inland revenue. That is, you don't pay tax on all these profits. Then value-added tax we don't pay. Finance Act number 11, 2002, what is that? Finance Act number 5, 2005. What is that? Excise tax, custom ordinance, PAL, Export Development Act, betting and gaming levy. Why do you want to exempt betting and gaming levy for these guys?
So if I may permit to come in there, sir, those are the 13 enactments is what exemptions or incentives can be given against, right?
Yeah, but then, sorry, go ahead.
And they are not, so if you're not a casino operator, you're not exempted from the Betting and Gaming Levy Act. So there would be a separate document that's actually gazetted subject to cabinet approval, which actually lists the incentives. So the primary incentives they are looking at, right, is, as you rightly pointed out, the corporate tax or the Inland Revenue Act, right? VAT at the moment for, as you rightly said, duty-free sales done out of the BIA airport, to the best of our understanding, is exempted. They don't, my understanding, but if that is not the case, that would not, that it will be a level playing field. So if the people who sell in the Dubai, correction, the BIA duty-free are paying VAT, that would apply here. So there's going to be no exemption there. It'll stand as a level playing field. In terms of addressing the revenue to the government, right, the authorized person agreement that would be executed subject to these regulations being passed would result in a 7% minimum, or starting at 7% and then going up possibly to 15% over a 5-year period or the longer. 7% of the revenue generated by the mall operator, the person who does the sales, would be coming in as income to the commission, and i.e. the government. And
income to the commission is not in revenue to the treasury.
It goes into the consolidated fund.
No, you have expenses.
You're correct.
You have who pays the salaries, who pays for everything else, right? So it doesn't come. The tax is going directly to the consolidated fund, but this only what will be left over will go to the consolidated fund. No, I mean, you see what happens in a lot of countries. I was in the US recently. You know, we went to a restaurant, but the restaurant had these, what do you call these, jackpots and things like that, right? You go to a gas station. We were driving in the southern, you know, from Houston to New Orleans, and you know, all the gas stations has a slot machine, right? So what I'm saying is, do we have to exempt all these laws to all the authorized persons, or is it necessary, AG's department, is it necessary that we restrict the types of waivers depending on the type of business the person is engaging in? You all are tired, no? I'm also tired.
I'm not sure if there's somebody from the AG's department here, but if I can clarify that point, and you're absolutely correct, what we do is, once this is
What happened to the person from the AG's department? Where's the person from the AG's department? AG's department should have stayed here. This is huh? Why did they go? They were asked to stay. Who asked them to go?
May I continue, sir?
Just one moment. Ask if they are around. Yes, go ahead, please.
So once the BSI framework is approved, or should it be approved by Parliament or this committee and then Parliament, the individual business operator, right, we would be publishing a gazette, an order by gazette under Section 53 of the Act, right, or as per requirement of Section 53 of the Act, we would be publishing the list of enactments where they would be receiving exemptions or incentives against. And again, and that will be gazetted accordingly. And for duty-free operators or businesses that you're doing banking business or whatever business, there won't be any exemptions granted under the casino business regulations and or the Betting and Gaming Levy Act, right? You're looking at primarily the tax acts, the finance acts, and in this case, excise, customs ordinance, the PAL, which comes under Port and Airport Development Levy, the Sri Lanka Export Development Act, TEWA, or Termination of Employment of Workmen, and the Foreign Exchange Act, right? So I think those, and that would be gazetted, clearly marking out the exemptions or incentives given and the time period it runs for.
There is a commission member here, right? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Niranjan Arul Pragasan.
Mr. Aruprakasam, you see, this is a matter of serious concern. You see, whether it should be en bloc, right? I mean, what is the distortion that is going to develop? There's certainly going to be a distortion developing. I mean, arbitrage is going to happen. I mean, that is how businesses operate. If you don't pay tax in one place, you pay tax in the other place, arbitrage will happen. Right? I hear Mr. Wickramasuriya trying to defend the idea. I don't disagree with him. Right? I'm not disagreeing with him. What I'm saying is, how do you ring fence the ability for arbitrage, tax arbitrage? Right? If you put it in another way, what is the tax expense? Now, from this day onwards, this cannot just be approved here. The tax expense has to be calculated. It is an IMF condition. So every regulation will have to have a tax expenditure, like cost to the treasury. So now, for instance, Mr. Wickramasuriya, if you are expecting 7 fridges, 6 TVs, 5 washing machines, 4 irons, 3 watches, 2, because it's Christmas time, come on, cheer up, will you? Why is everybody not getting my joke? Right? And you have to calculate the cost. You can't just get it done now like this. It's the law, or it's a condition. Correct me if I'm wrong, tax advisor. You can't. You have to speak to the mic. Is that the law? I mean, is that the new structure?
Yeah, we have to prepare the tax expenditure statement, and this is coming under the law. No, that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we earlier what happened was we said okay, because we see the logic, whether we like it or not, we will say okay. Now when we say okay, there has to be a calculation behind it. It may not be accurate to the dot, but based on the expected revenue, based on the expected sales, number of watches, number of whatever it is that you have in mind, what is the tax expenditure? What is the tax expenditure to the state? And that has to be published. It has to go on a website.
So if I could just add a little bit of context to what you said, sir, because you keep mentioning the irons and fridges. I get where you're coming from. Given what the country is going through, the fact that the tax has to be computed, I completely agree that's for the tax department. But from the Commission's point of view, sir, we are mandated to bring in investors. And what we were trying to do with this mall is to extend the experience or whatever that you get at the airport over here. So it's strictly tied in with immigration and the allowance and so on. And if you look at the gazette that's before you today, there are only 2 types of people who can get this BSI. One is a mall operator, and there can be only one. So for this entire building, there's going to be one mall operator. Under that, there is something called a mall retail operator. So we deal with Flamingo or World Duty Free or China Duty Free. The Commission directly deals with them. They will bring the Louis Vuittons and whatever brands. We don't get into that. The mall operator is responsible for the confectionery, whatever it is that is there. So from the Commission's perspective, with our mandate to bring in investors and foreign currency and so on, we were trying to extend that experience in this manner, sir. That was the objective. But I defer to you on this, on the tax implications and everything else.
I think you are doing a good job. I'm not saying so. This is your job. You have to fight with us and fight with the treasury to get what you want. I mean, what's the point in just saying okay? I mean, because there is not only one matter. No, there are a bunch of stakeholders, right? There is a government treasury also. So I am not going to argue with you that you don't have the right to what you are trying to do. That's not my point.
Yeah,
My point
understood.
is we have to actually come up with a number. What is the lost or rather the tax expenditure? It has to be published in a website. It has to happen. So therefore, we need to calculate it. If I'm mistaken, if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I don't want to be on record saying something that they don't have to do or we don't have to do. Is it necessary, Mrs. Pereira? Is it necessary?
Yeah, we have to publish.
We have to publish. So, you have to make an assessment. I know it is difficult because you don't really know what kind of, companies will come, what kind of luxury items will be sold, how many will, be taken, by foreigners as opposed to locals. But those can be, I guess, tweaked as we go on. But there is a new condition that it has to be calculated. So that's my main point, right? How do we proceed, Danuja, Mrs. Pereira? How do we proceed?
So, once the commercial operation started, then based on their accounts, this could be calculated. If we to calculate the foregone VAT revenue, then we can calculate it upon their turnover and apply the VAT rate.
But it is not exposed, no. It is ex ante, isn't it? So we have to give some indication as to what the tax expenditure of this decision is. I mean, this is a retail operation, no? And I am sure you agree with me that arbitrage can happen, right? I mean, if I have to pay tax to buy an iPhone, if I have to buy an iPhone at say Shang Mall or something like that, I have to pay VAT, and phones will be charged VAT from January, 18% VAT. So how much is an iPhone? I think it's, let's say, $1,000. I don't know whether you can buy one for $1,000. Let's suppose $1,000. So 18% VAT plus SCL. Let's say SCL 2.5% is VAT about let's say 22%. Let's say 22%. So that is $220.
Custom rate is a 20%, VAT 18, and 2% social security. That is average is a 40%. So
40%.
40% the tax is average. That's the limit is a 500,000. No, 5,000. 5,000 US dollars. So 40% is about 2,000 tax expenditure. Total in annual annual expenditure limit is 5,000.
Yes.
5,000 is the average tax rate is 40%.
Yeah.
The tax expenditure is not a foreigner. The local one is $2,000.
$2,000
Per annum.
So per person. So every person who goes in here will cost the government of Sri Lanka $2,000 per year. So that is let's say 100 people go, that is how much? 20,000. 1,000 people go, 2 million. So if 1,000 people visit, one moment please, if 1,000 people visit this mall, that will mean $2 million, $2 million a day of tax expenditure. I am not just, what I am saying is, this is just a rough back of the envelope calculation the Deputy Secretary Treasury is making. I am not saying he is right, but what I am saying is, there has to be, he may be right, just by looking at the big numbers. So we have to calculate that. And we have to calculate that. And based on that, I guess, you'll have to see whether, like you also correctly pointed out, Mr. Vikramasuriya, that not every person need to be given every exemption, right? So if you are a retail, you don't need casino exemption, right? If you are casino, you don't need retail exemption. So I think those will have to be calculated. But there is a bigger problem than that. We have just found out this hasn't been, this gazette hasn't been submitted. The list. Now we talked about a list, no? I did not know what the list was. Why didn't I know what the list was? It is not in my file. Then I asked the officials here to check when you submitted this list to Parliament, for which you are asking exemptions. Now I find that list hasn't been submitted. The list that you can you reconfirm that this hasn't been submitted to Parliament? Whip office. So the Whip office, that is the government office that is responsible for government business, says this gazette hasn't been submitted to Parliament. And this gazette has this list of watches and TVs and fridges and washing machines and all of that. Mr. Secretary to the Ministry. Oh. Mr. Secretary to the Ministry, this is your responsibility.
71. So, sir, if I may just interject for a moment.
No. Mr. Secretary to the
Yes,
Ministry, this is your responsibility. Yes. Can you tell me when this was submitted to Parliament?
It's a rule, I think.
Under Section 72 of the Act. Honorable Chair.
So the rule, the regulator.
No, it says the Gazette of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, extraordinary
Yes,
gazette.
Sir,
It's not a rule.
Yes.
Who said this is a rule? If it is a rule, why does it say extraordinary gazette?
No, sir.
So the power to make regulations under the Act is under Section 71, sir.
That is
and
correct.
that has to be submitted to Parliament for its approval within 3 months upon the minister.
So what is the
enacting-
date? What is the date on this gazette? May.
This one is under 72, sir.
Under 72, what is it?
It's to make rules.
Okay.
It's to make rules, sir. But that is not. It doesn't follow the same procedure as in 71.
Okay.
Where if it's not approved by
So this
Parliament,
you don't
it's
need
deemed to be
parliamentary
rescinded.
approval for this.
No, you don't.
This is crazy. I mean, you need approval from Parliament to sell the things that we don't have. We don't know what they are. So how can that be? You are asking for approval today, Mr. Commission Member, Mr. Arupakasam.
Yes, sir.
You are asking for approval from Parliament to exempt those people who are selling a bunch of items, exemption from tax and VAT and PAL and Foreign Exchange Act and everything. No, that's what you're doing.
That's correct, sir.
That's
with the gazette.
That is correct.
That
Then
is
you say
the duty-free gazette.
Yeah.
The permitted items come under these rules, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now then you can put whatever you want in this list, because what you are saying is there is no need of any parliamentary oversight in this.
Sir. Those items, if I'm not mistaken, it was brought up with the commission. We took it directly from customs. These permitted items and stuff, it's in something in the customs ordinance. So it's a replication of that we published as rules just to govern the area in the port city, sir.
Right. Now it says regulations made by the Minister of Investment Promotion in consultation with the Port City under Section 71 of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act.
Yes, sir. That needs to be brought before Parliament within 3 months.
Under this, right?
Yes.
Now this one, you have listed out a bunch of things, right? TVs, fridges, watches, cigarettes, scotch, etc. under Section 72. Right?
Yes, sir.
But you are seeking approval under Section 71 for a list under Section 72.
That is correct, sir.
Yes.
But the list under Section 72 it's a replication of something that customs has. That's
Look,
what was.
that is immaterial, no? Whether customs has it or somebody else has it is immaterial to us. What I'm saying is, it sounds very odd.
No, sir.
Then why don't you?
No, sir. Can I put it this way, sir? If you just give me a minute, sir.
Sure, please.
So now, when we say the customs ordinance is suspended, for example, their enforcement mechanism, people still need to declare, go through, all that part is there. The commission does not deal with any of that. It is only the tax. So similarly, sir, the reason this has come by way of rules is that there is a law or regulation under customs which mirrors what's in the rules, sir. Now, suppose I add an extra item like a Ferrari car or something to these rules, customs will stop it. This rule does not enable it to go through. This rule is just for information for people who want to do business within the area of the port. It's more
Hold on
informative.
a second.
It's
So
not
I'm reading from the Act.
Yes.
All rules made under this Act shall be published in the Gazette within 3 months of the formulation.
Yes.
Now, when you say rules,
Yes.
right, can you interpret rule as a list of things that can be subjected to or not subjected to the normal laws of this country?
Certainly not, sir.
But that is what's happening now.
No, sir. We have mirrored it. Like I said, sir, if
No,
there is an item,
mirroring is not.
if there is an item that's not in the customs permitted use, they won't be able to import it because they have to clear
that is customs. If there is a list in the customs, you have to pay duty, no?
Correct.
Right. What you are saying is, you are giving us a list
Yes.
that you say mirrors a list in the customs, which I accept, there is no problem there.
Yes.
But what you are saying is, to sell these 25 types of items, goods,
Yes.
to please give us the approval not to charge tax on these things. That's what you're saying, no?
That is what
Correct,
we are saying.
correct.
But the rule doesn't have
No,
the force
is
of
that
law.
a rule?
Yes. Yeah.
Can the Port City Commission rule, I'm asking the Secretary of the Treasury, can the Port City Commission rule what items cannot or can be taxed? Or should it not be approved, this list?
Sir, can I put it this way, sir?
Please.
Assume these rules don't exist, sir.
Correct.
They are permitted. It's in this customs regulation by law, and
Yeah.
it is only those items that can be in the duty free. It's the rules of no consequence. It's more informative.
Well, I disagree with you, Mr. Commission Member. I don't think it is not.
No, in the sense, it's informative for people doing business in the area of the port city.
Yeah, but then I mean, I can say you can have a rule. You have to wear shoes if you enter a premises, or you can put a rule. You cannot smoke within 20 meters of this premises. You can have a rule. Look, you have to drive on the left hand of the street. But can you have a rule that overrules the existing
Certainly not.
taxation?
Certainly not.
So I'm going to stall here. I'm going to adjourn this discussion for a moment, because I need you to give me the interpretation of the word rule. Because I'm looking at, this is where the additional DSC should have been here. How come people just get up and leave from these meetings? But we postponed this meeting because we had to take the other meeting. I'm also hungry, right? I'm also tired. All these people are tired too. So where is the officer? How can we run a country like this? I also have been working, I've been, in the chamber, and then I've come here for the last 3 hours, I'm doing this. Mr. Aruprakasam,
Yes.
are you legal professional?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So, I mean, I would think if you are going to use a word like rule and assume that you have the authority to determine what rules that you impose, I think there has to be a clear definition of what a rule is. So I looked at the definition section in the Act, Mr. Arup Prakasham.
It doesn't appear to
it doesn't give.
It
no?
doesn't appear to be defined.
Yeah, but it gives community rules.
Yes.
Now, there's only rule in this is community rule. This is what it says. Community rule means rules specifying guidelines and instructions as formulated from time to time by the Commission, which are to be complied by the owners and occupiers of condominium parcels and premises situated within an area of authority of the Colombo Port City, with a view to ensuring the maintenance of harmony and the promotion of cohesive living environments.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Secretary, in Gazette that you didn't submit to Parliament, because you say you don't have to submit to Parliament under 2333/14, which Mr. Arup Prakasham is right, under section 72, right? In section 72, all rules made under this act, so he is right. I'm not finding fault with the Port City Commission here. He is just going by this. But this doesn't say, define what a rule is. If you can define what a community rule is, how come what a rule is not defined? Where there is no other rule in the definition. The legal person of the Port City is here, right? You're the head of legal. Now, you were involved in this 72, section 72, no? On the Gazette of May 22nd?
Yes.
33/14?
Correct, sir.
Now, you use section 72.
Correct, sir.
Right. To use section 72 instead of section 71. Because if it was section 71, you have to have approval from Parliament. If it is section 72, you don't. Tell me why you decided to use section 72 as opposed to section 71?
Honorable Chair, these rules are actually what we have used here is what is available in the customs really. We've actually reduced what is available in the customs ordinance. This is not something
Okay,
new.
what is available in the customs ordinance?
The entire list of goods are available. There's a
What? Available for what?
for importation.
We all know that. There are 8,000 HS codes of things that you can import. You have only 25. You have 25 multiplied by about 125, because when you say apparels, there are lots of apparels. There are cotton apparels, there are nylon apparels, there are mixed apparels, there are 80-20 apparels. And you can buy 36 apparels, pieces of apparel. 36 in here. Right? So this 36 might correspond to about 50 HS codes. So if you're looking at HS codes, you have a whole bunch of HS codes, not 25. Right? Now, I have another question. Is this a rule or a regulation? What is the difference between a rule and a regulation? Please.
So a regulation is subordinate legislation. It has the force of law when it is subsequently approved by Parliament.
Rule doesn't have...
Rule does not have the force of law.
So, Mr. Vikramasuriya, you can have any rule you want. Our fathers had rules when we were in school. They say if you go to Royal Thomin, don't drink. But did you follow that rule? Subsequently, they all found out and they all excused us because they said, well, some rules are not necessarily, enforced. But look here, you can have this list, but according to what just transpired, you can sell anything. You can sell anything. You can sell luxury goods, you can sell non-luxury goods, you can sell whatever you want. There is no legal constraint of this list. Because this is not a regulation, but it's a mere rule that can easily be broken with no consequence. So,
If I can comment on that, sir, as we said, it comes through the customs ordinance. So they can't import anything that's.
but you can import 8,000 items.
I hear you, and I alluded to that. Maybe this list needs to.
No, this list essentially includes 8,000 items, except for banned items like nuclear waste and stuff like that. I don't know why they want to import nuclear waste, but except for nuclear waste, then garbage, right? Which some people accuse the Singapore agreement was going to, allow people to import garbage. No, you can't, because in the customs ordinance, you can't import garbage. So that argument itself was garbage, but that's another matter. But you can import anything. So I think this is not going in the way that we originally wanted it to go. I want it to go the original way we want it to go. The objective is to ensure that we have a good piece of legislation. Right? So I think you need to go back to your drawing boards and figure out how there is some sort of regulation here. I mean, do you agree, Mr. Vikramasuriya, you're the main man, running this operation. Do you want your duty-free operator to bring anything he or she wishes to and sell here?
Not at all, sir. I still stand by the comment I made, the objectives of the duty free. So I still stand by that.
I stand with you on your objective. So let's do that. Let's do that. So if you want to sell certain type of things, then let's have some way in which that you don't open the floodgates. I mean, there is a big, not that I necessarily agree. People are saying, well, you import kites from China. So you can import kites from China and sell in the bulk without paying duty.
But if I can comment here, sir, sorry, Niranjan, the people who can go in and shop here, right, is not every citizen of Sri Lanka, right? It is Sri Lankans who've actually gone overseas and come back, right? And as you rightly said, if a person has gone overseas to China and bought a kite, he can carry it through customs and clear it through immigration subject to the baggage allowances. So what we are trying to create here, what we were envisaged to create here, is him, instead of shopping for that kite in China or the Louis Vuitton bag in Dubai or the Hermes bag or Johnny Walker Red Label in Singapore, to come in here and go and purchase this item in the duty-free mall in downtown duty-free mall, which also would actually result in, as we mentioned earlier, 7% income to the government. And that was the idea and the vision behind this.
Yeah. It's let me correct you. 7% income is not to the government. 7% income is to your commission.
The commission. Apologize.
Right. So I think there needs to be further discussion on this. I think we all agree that this needs to be tweaked a little bit more. Let's do this right. Let us not be accused later of creating loopholes for person X, Y, or Z. Let us get this done right.
So just one quick thing, sir. On behalf of the Commission, I just, for the purpose of the record, would like to state that by these rules, we by no means intended to circumvent the provisions of the customs ordinance or anything else. It was merely for the information of people operating within the area of the port city. But I take your point that it could be misleading. But certainly, as it does not have the force of law, somebody importing it is not going to get a benefit from these rules. It was purely informative, but as you said, it could have been done in a better manner.
Yeah, see, the thing is, from my point of view, Mr. Aruprakasham, while we have, this is like a Venn diagram. Some of your interests are my interests also, right? But not all of your interests are not all of my interests, right? So therefore, I think it is best, because the issue is not about the genuine person, right? 90% of the people probably are genuine, but the 10% people who may want to, go through the loopholes that we are going to knowingly provide will cause later on repercussions that you and I will both be accused of doing things that we should not have done, right? Because this is a democracy. Right? People, it's best if, now that we have recognized that there can be a hole that you can drive a truck through let's close that hole, right? And I think it's in the best interest of you and us both.
I take your point, sir.
Yeah. So what we are going to do, and then we have to calculate the tax. The issue here is on the arbitrage. It is not the genuine person, because do you think every person who will go and shop for $5,000 in the duty-free shop will purchase for their individual consumption? No, I don't think so. I mean, have I ever bought 36 pieces of clothing in one go? No, I don't buy 36 shirts. I buy one shirt, or I buy 2 shirts, or buy 3 shirts at the most. That's all I can afford for personal consumption. But if you buy 36 shirts, that is for another purpose. That is clearly arbitrage opportunity exists. But you are letting people buy 36 shirts. Right? So let us come back. Right? Take this in the right spirit. Right? Please don't go and say that Harsha De Silva is against the port city, that Harsha De Silva tried to stop the progress of the port city. I am not. I was one of the architects of this, and I want this to succeed. Right? I want it to succeed. But I want it to succeed knowing that we have taken all the precautions for unscrupulous characters to sort of take advantage of the genuine people who are trying to do this correct. So this meeting is adjourned. This is not approved. We will have to go back. Secretary Investment Promotion, Secretary Finance, you all will have to discuss. Should it be a regulation? Right? Should it come under 71? What is the actual power that 72 gives the Port City Commission to apply these rules? What do rules mean? So there is a discussion before we can get back to this committee.